their responsibilities. So the current things that I'm working on, I think the best way to describe it is digital marketing. So then, yeah, that's my role right now. A bit about myself. I was Isaac in the UK and Isaac in Romania before, so that's just for you to know. And also, I'm living in the past currently. It's still 12th of May here where I'm speaking from. So I'm in Canada, so it's still evening the day before your day. So that's a bit of a mindfuck for me, knowing that you guys are tomorrow. But I hope you guys are well energized in the morning and ready. So yeah, as me said, today is quite heavy. Well, let me move this actually from here. So as Nee said, today is quite heavy. However, we're starting quite light, let's say, with the session. So it's the first session of 3 sessions that you've got today on GEGT business model or professional internships, let's say it like this. And you've also got a consultancy. So the whole day, you're going to get a lot of information about professional internships. And we're going to start with a recap of where we're standing, of the process and what happened so far. So you guys are 100% on the same page. And also a recap of the brand launch that we had a week and a half ago. I don't know how many of you were there at the brand launch, which we had on a Saturday, and it was me and Laurena giving it, where we revealed what are the 2 products that are replacing what we know right now as global talent and global entrepreneur, and what are the brand elements that we have so far in the process, the product basics I'm going to run you through, and what are the next steps that you're going to hear about and that you need to be aware of for your entity. So a bit of disclaimers for today. As I said, there's 3 sessions on the topic. So you won't have all the answers from this session alone. So my advice for you is to write all the questions that you have down. At the end of the session, we're going to have a Q&A space. However, there's going to be a lot of topics that won't be covered in this session as per se. Maybe in the next 2 sessions, they're going to be covered, which most likely it is. And if not, we still have the consultancy in the evening, and we still have a form where you can put all of the questions. So just put them down. Don't expect everything to be ready, answered in one session. And if you don't get the answer by the end of the day, then you can always ask in the consultancy or the forum, as you know. Cool. So I'm going to start with a question for you guys, and I want you just to put in the chat. If you were at the brand launch, how did you what was your reaction when you saw the new 2 products, the names, the brands? And be super super honest, and we're gonna go through it like ha 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 ha. Okay. And if you were not there, just put not there, because that's fine as well. Okay cool. So haha and yay, I don't know what to take of that, but I guess it's positive. So let's recap a bit what happened so far in means of the whole GGT business model project that we had this year in the AI team. So starting from the beginning, how did we end up here having this session now in MCP Summit? So back in August, we had the AI planning where we first look at the idea of, okay, our assumption is that the difference between global talent and global entrepreneur is not what we think and what we say it is. Let's validate that. So that was our assumption that we came out of planning with. So then we went in September and we looked at the scoping and the consolidation of the first inputs and also alumni inputs of our assumption. And then we looked at the research. So we looked at customer survey, external research, external validation of our assumptions. So Ezgi's been doing a lot of data analysis in October to come up with the validation of our assumptions that the difference between global talent and global entrepreneur is not what we say it is from the customer's point of view. And that was validated by both partners and youth. This is why we went on with the project and we said, okay, if this is what it is, then we need to make sure that we changed the way our business model looks like for the professional internships, and we make it in a way that fits a differentiation point that is not just internal, but also from the perspective of the customer. So if we have 2 products, they need to be distinctly 2. If you have 1 product, that's fine. If we have 3 products, that's also fine. So we didn't go into the project, let's say, with the thought that there's going to be 2 products and what are they going to be. But we knew that there needs to be a change in the way we define professional internships based on the validation we've got from our customers. And then we had the solution fit and ideation, and we had an MCP steering team summit, the first one with the MCPs 1920 back in November. We also gathered the inputs and the validation from there. And then we had sprints in the AI and with alumni and prototyping of the new products back in November to be able to test our assumptions and our ideas. We looked at synergy mapping and business model, which were presented later on in IPM. So if you were in IPM, you already saw the session. I bet you remember the session with Ezgi mixing up water with different ingredients to see differences. If you remember like that. And if you haven't seen it and it's something new, or you were not in IPM because maybe you are not elected or any of those reasons, just know that that session was recorded throughout in video. So if you want to see it, you can just request it and it's available for you. So we had that in IPM. And then after IPM, after we presented you, okay, what are the two products that we're looking at? Myself and Lorena, we looked at, okay, what is the branding process for us to rebrand the products that we're having and create new brands for the ones that are totally new. So since March, we've been working on this rebranding process. We looked at when is the ideal timeline of everything being launched, including our, let's say, biggest roadblock that we usually have, which is development for our platform. So we confirmed that with our developers. We had the vendor planning, which is when we plan the timeline for development with our developers team. So then we had the network onboarding back in April, which was like less than 2 weeks ago, and right now we're in RPMs. So the whole branding process was done in March, April, and now we have most of the things ready for you that you've already seen. And we also launched the academies today, actually. I hope you've seen them. I don't think you have because you were probably sleeping when they were launched. But we do have the academies now for MCVPs for the new products launched just today. So those are available with all the knowledge that they need. So that's very good. Cool. So in means of the brand process, how it looked like. March was a phase of research and validation. So we looked at both qualitative and quantitative analysis. So we looked at customer surveys, customer interviews for both partners and youth. And then we decided on the names based on those. We tried to test assumptions such as you've already seen the surveys that we sent to MCPs, and we tested things like, okay, is the name internship something that has different connotations in different cultures? Is what are the things that we can use, cannot use based on cultural differences? And we try to democratize this process as much as possible, being in ISAC and being an association of so many volunteers and different entities around the world. We wanted to make it fit and fair for everyone. So then we created, based on the names that we decided upon, after we checked also things like trademark, legalities, being able to use the name as an organization, make it our own. So we picked the two names that you've already seen, Global Talent that we kept and Global Teacher. And then we went into a creation of the visual elements. So we looked at a couple of versions of logos for all of them, like tens of versions of logos. You've probably seen it if you were in the brand launch, how the working sheets look like. It means of trying to find out what's the best one. And then now in May, we're creating all the missing brand assets. We had the internal launch. Downscaling to the network is going to happen in June of everything else, which means in OP summits, we're going to give your MCVPs all the resources that they need in order to prepare for the launch that is going to happen in July, in the second day of IC. So 7th of July, that is. IC starts with day 0 on the 5th of July. So second day will be 7th of July. Cool. So that was some intro, some recap. Now I want to do a little quiz with you because you are still in the morning waking up and I want to do a fun thing. So I don't know if you guys know this show. It's called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's quite popular in Europe and America. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it. I asked Isuru before if it is a thing in 80 countries. Do people know what it is?
Yeah,
and he said yes.
We know.
So I will go with his advice that it's a thing. So then we're gonna play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in like 5 minutes. So how does it work? We're changing from millionaire because that's not what you're going to be after this game. We're going to change to Who Wants to Be the MCP who guesses the most answers by pure luck and can momentarily feel good about themselves, because that's all you get. It's a global pandemic and not Christmas. So we're going to play this with Isaac. And we're going to have 4 questions. For each question that you get right, give yourself 1 point. So it's not going to be a quiz, Zoom quiz. So just put your count your points because it's just 4 questions. So for every question that you get right, give yourself 1 point. Cool. And then at the end, we're going to reveal how many points did everybody get. In Europe, nobody got 4 points. So I'm really, really curious if anybody will get 4 points in AP because nobody got all the answers correctly in Europe. And there's a lot of entities there. Cool. So question number 1. How many MCPs do you think filled out the branding input survey? And you can put your answers here in the chat just to see what you guys think. Number 1, number 2, number 1, number 1, number 1, number 1, number 2, number 2, number 2, number 2, number 2. No. Okay, cool. Okay, you guys are good. So cool. So yes, the correct answer is 59. So we did launch the first initial input survey to the network regarding what should the names of the products be. But unfortunately, from MCPs, we only got 59 responses. So if you're thinking from, let's say, quantitative analysis perspective, this wouldn't be a relevant sample for the population of MCPs that we have. So theoretically, this is not a valid research. However, we did take into consideration all the opinions that were sent, and we based our further research on it. Now, another question regarding the external ones. What do you think is the highest number of responses that we got for one survey in the quantitative analysis? So the highest, the survey that got the highest number of responses, which one was it? So how many were the most that we got? Okay. 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 Cool. So actually, the highest number was most of you were right, I think. Number 3, which is 875, and it was the survey to youth customers that we sent for validating the differences between terminology for intern, trainee. We had job, we had employee, we had all these names that you give to an intern. So we try to see what is the most appropriate one for the definition that we're giving somebody that takes a global talent, global teacher opportunity. And it validated that intern was quite mixed in means of opinions, and a lot of inputs were that internet has a bad connotation in some markets. So then we try to move away from the name intern. So you're going to see throughout the resources and everything, we're using professional experience more than internship because it's now globally, let's say, aligned in means of what is meant by internship. Cool. So next question. This is the only one that you can actually know and not just guess. Because it's knowledge. If AI has 26 members, how many answers is a valid sample for a quantitative research? Okay, now you cannot see because I put it like this. Okay, I don't know if you guys are looking at each other's answers and just copying whatever the first people say. But whoever said 24, that's correct. So for populations that are so small of 26, usually the sample size is very, very close to the population size. The bigger you go into the population, the smaller the sample size is compared to the actual population. So for example, for youth, a sample size of 400 is relevant for a population of like 10,000 because the numbers even out at one point. Cool. And then we have the last question, which is my favorite one. Which of the following do you think it's an actual name suggestion for global talent given by the network? So either by an MCP who filled in the form or an MCVP who filled in the form. Which of these 4 do you think it's an actual name that people suggested? Talent entrepreneur, global rookie, Mr. Worldwide, or bride talent? Okay, cool. Great. So the answer is actually all four of them. So all four of them were actually inputs that we received from MCPs or MCVPs as suggestions for names. So I gave this question here just to showcase the fact that we try to democratize the process as much as possible. However, the expectation of what the name of the product should be, it's extremely varied across. So people suggested the wildest things, and that was their genuine expectation, and that's fine. However, getting that much input also means that we are doing the analysis, and we're prioritizing, of course, the answers that are the majority. So then, of course, not everybody's expectation has been met through the branding process that we've done. So then, yeah, these were the four questions, and I'm really curious if anybody got 4 points. I don't think so, because nobody chose all four answers, because I didn't tell you that you can choose more than one answer. But did anybody get 4 questions right by any chance? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think anybody did. That was not the point of the survey, anyway, the quiz anyway. It was just a fun way to start. Cool, now I can put the chat down for a bit, and then I can present the next slides. Yes, cool. So thank you very much for that. That was a bit of fun. Now let's see what's yet to come in means of the branding process. So that's what we have so far, and it's what you've seen already in the brand launch. But what are the elements missing, and the ones that are we're working in May, and your MCVPs will receive by OP Summit, are exactly the phrasings of the key messages and benefits that we're going to be using. Today, I'm going to present you what the content is, what the information is, but not the final phrasing. The brand personality description, the brand voice description, imagery style, and graphic standards. And all of these are going to go into the Blue Book as well. Launched in IC, as I said, external launch happens day 2, and that's when we launch the Blue Book. However, because we're launching externally in IC already, we cannot give you the information at the same time as the external launch. That doesn't make any sense, because you guys need to prepare and you guys need to know before the external world knows. So instead of trying to make everything, let's say, released in one place that is going to be super cool and super fancy, we prefer to give out bits of information each at the time, so that you guys and your MCs can absorb it and can use it and can work with the information that you need at a specific point. But by the time we're going to launch the Blue Book, you're going to have all the information, you and your MCs as well. So all of those missing elements, your entity will get your MCs in by OP Summit. So what we have so far in means of brand is the 2 new logos that we've got, and new names. So we've got Global Talent, which is an old name, but with a bit of a different concept and a refreshed personality of the brand. And Global Teacher, totally new name, and a new brand as well. So for Global Talent, for the logo itself and the branding, this is something that we've covered already, but I'm just going to recap very shortly so it's fresh in your mind. That what we kept is the name, and we kept the idea of global. However, we made the globe more dynamic, and we also used a more youthful color to make it more fresh, while sticking to the professional aspect of a blue collar. And we also have new typography. So it's not the same font that we had before. And a lot of people are saying, I had this question in the other session that, oh, we're not using Lato anymore. And it's actually, the previous logos never used Lato. So little people know that the logos of the products don't use Lato as a font. It's a font very similar to Lato. It's called Gordita. So we're not using that as the new font that we're going to be using for the logos itself. Does it mean that Lato stays the brand font? Most probably. Cool. And then something that we decided as well is to have 3 versions of each logo. So then we can have multiple ways to use them, and it's more versatile in means of use. But now the basics. What are the basics of the program that you need to have in mind super clear in order for you to understand and to be able to move on with the sessions today? So let's see, what does global talent mean with the new definition, and what is different? So according to the new definition of global talent, it is a professional work experience abroad. Again, as I said, we try to not use the word internship just because of the negative connotation in some markets. And the duration of a global talent can be anywhere from 6 weeks to 78 weeks. So there's no differentiation now that global entrepreneur used to be short and global talent used to be long. Now global talent will be able to be short as well, 6 weeks being the minimum duration, 78 the maximum. And the criteria for amount of working hours is at minimum 35 and at maximum 45. Why did we pick these numbers of hours? It's because the experience needs to be intense enough for the person to develop their leadership as we promised them, but at the same time, it cannot be exploiting. So 35 hours is the minimum for development and for the professional development that we're promising, but maximum 45, because more than that can be considered exploiting because it's too much work. And then the minimum benefits. Here, there's an important thing to understand, is that for the shortest experiences that we're having, so from 6 to 8 weeks, opportunities can provide salary or accommodation for the full duration of the internship. So yes, a GT can be unpaid if it's less than 8 weeks and it provides accommodation. More than 8 weeks, it has to provide salary. So more than 8 weeks, you cannot just provide accommodation anymore because it's a longer opportunity and salary is required here. All right. The fields of work that we have for global talent are the ones that you're used to already. So all of the fields of work within business and engineering. So in broad terms is business administration, business development, which includes sales, marketing, which includes everything about advertising, media, PR. We've got finance, IT, and engineering fields. And then something important is that we're not gonna have sub-products anymore. We're only gonna have durations. So what did the customers told us in the interviews and with the surveys that we did with them, that for them, a very, very important thing to be able to filter based on and search their opportunities based on is the duration that they are available for. Why is that? Because most of the people can go for short-term internships only in summers, for example, between final year of university, the year before the final year of university and final year of university, or when they have enough experience, or in between two levels of studies. So for example, university and master's, like bachelor and master's degree. So there's various instances where short-term experiences are needed, and they want to know and to be able to filter based on these. So this is how we're categorizing types of global talent based on, of course, the field of work and the duration. We have 6 to 12 weeks as short-term experiences, 13 to 26 as mid-length experiences, and then we've got 27 weeks to 78 weeks as the longest experiences that we're having for global talent. And this is something that's going to be reflected. I'm gonna go to the questions in a second. So this is the thing that was going to be reflected in the platform as well. So this is something that the EPs will be able to filter based on and choose their experience based on. Cool. Let's see the value proposition and benefits. As I said before, as a disclaimer, is that this is not the final phrasing. The information will not change. We're going to keep the same meaning of everything because this is the value proposition and benefits that we settled for. However, the way it is going to be presented in the Blue Book and before that given to your MCVPs and OP Summit might change just a bit, because right now what we're doing is we're going through testing of the phrasing itself. So we're doing all this language check and also looking at what is the best way to convey the message. So the value proposition for youth is that it's as I said, work experience, a broad opportunity, or internship. We don't say just internship or just work experience for people who seek to develop their leadership skills, competencies, and boost their career opportunities. What we put here in the value proposition and the benefits, super important, is that we only put the things that were validated when we asked the youth that went on this kind of exchanges if this is something that happened to them or was a benefit. So for example, if we thought that something is a benefit of global talent, but nobody said it as a benefit that they perceived, we didn't want to include it in the benefits because it's not true. According to our research, this is not something that our customers validated. So we cannot promise a benefit that everybody says they didn't benefit from. So then the benefits that we are formally using in order to promote and to describe the experience is the ability to apply the skills and knowledge in the practical environment, the international exposure that the EPs get, the development of the leadership, as we define it in ISAC, and also the logistics that they receive support from, so the ISAC assistance throughout, and also the salary if this is provided. So these are the real benefits that were actually validated and that the EPs actually told us that, yes, this is not just a promised benefit, but it's a perceived benefit by myself by going through this experience. So then we are confident to say that these are the benefits that the program provides. And then in means of the partner, The value proposition, the way we refer to it, is that we're connecting companies with young, bright minds and help them fulfill their business needs with an international student or a recent graduate. So yeah, we're saying young, bright minds. We're not saying super, super skilled people, right? Because right now, global talent is also open to the short ones, right? So then we're going to have probably opportunities that don't require the highest level of skill. So then we cannot say professionals in the field, because not all of them will be professionals. However, they are young, bright minds because they are selected through quite a rigorous process. And they are international students or recent graduates at most of the times. And then the benefits that the companies get is gaining a competitive advantage over competitors. That's what they told us. Gaining a global perspective for the company by having somebody international, having this access to the international talent pool, the process itself of attraction and acquisition, and the fact that ISAC attracts for them, and also the logistic support that ISAC provides in means of visa, in means of finding accommodation for their EPs and such. And also the return of investment that was mentioned by quite a couple of our partners from retaining the EPs. So a lot of them retained the global talent interns as employees, and that cut a lot of their costs for acquisition and hiring of new people later on. Cool. So those are the benefits and the value proposition that we have for global talent. I think most of them were quite straightforward for you because you're used to global talent. However, global teacher is something new. We did have it under global talent before, but the brand itself didn't exist. So then what is the brand of global teacher? So starting with just the elements of how it looks like, very similarly to global talent, we've got the dynamic globe, but we chose a warm color for this one to be resembling the cozy environment, welcoming, that is usually used in teaching environments. And also we use the book, which is the most universally associated symbol with the experience of teaching and learning. And we've got the same font, of course. And of course, we've got the 3 different versions of the logo as Global Talent has as well. So same elements. But now the basics. And here's a couple of differences that you guys need to be super aware of in means of the difference between Global Teacher and Global Talent, because it's not just the type of opportunities in means of the field. And there's more to that. So the definition, the formal definition of the product is that it's a professional teaching experience abroad. Very important here to understand that it's teaching and not any job in education. Why? Because an educational institution can have multiple HR needs. So they can need somebody for the marketing department, or they can need somebody from their admin department or accounting. However, that would not be a global teacher because it's a school. It will only be a global teacher if it is the job itself is teaching. So it is the nature of the job that that dictates if it's a global talent or a global teacher, and not the type of the partner. Right. The duration here, very important, that the minimum duration for a global teacher is not 6 weeks as global talent, but 9 weeks. Why? Well, our assumption was that we tested that the short-term global teacher opportunities are too similar to the teaching global volunteer opportunities. We checked with our youth, and we asked this kind of questions, and we realized that yes, for them, the perceived benefit is not very different. So then if it's less than 9 weeks, it should be a global volunteer. If it's more than 9 weeks, more than 8 weeks, it should become a global teacher opportunity. Working hours, the same, for the same reasons as global talent, 35 a week and 45 a week. If it's less hours and less weeks, then that can be turned into a global volunteer. And there's no reason why a global volunteer cannot have more benefits than the minimum benefits of a global volunteer product. So if, for example, some questions were, what if we've got a school that is willing to pay, but they cannot have more than 8 weeks? Is that a global teacher? No, that can be a global volunteer. If they choose to give more benefits to global volunteer than the minimum, that's fine. That's not forbidden. But for global teacher, for this product, it needs to be at least 9 weeks as duration, and at minimum 35 hours of work a week. So the minimum benefits that we have here is, again, a different story than global talent, is because we don't have the short versions of global teacher. We don't have anything less than 9 weeks, and all opportunities have to provide salary for full duration. So think of it as The same as global talent more than 8 weeks, that you cannot only provide accommodation, you need to provide salary for a global teacher opportunity. So that's also the big differentiator between a global volunteer teaching opportunity and global teacher opportunity. The field of work is, as I said, teaching only. Nothing else that's within a school qualifies for a global teacher than teaching. It can be, of course, variables of teaching, tutoring, mentoring, depends on the nature of the job, but the essence should be in the field of teaching. And then the duration, because the shortest is not 6 weeks, then the shortest we have is 9 to 12 weeks. And then from 13 to 26, and then from 27 to 78. And these are the duration types that the customers will be able to choose from when they're looking for an opportunity in global teacher. The value proposition and benefits very similarly to global talent, but with the difference that it is a teaching opportunity abroad instead of a professional or professional work or interning opportunity. And the perceived benefits are the same, with the only difference that it is developed. All of these benefits are being developed and received in the setting of teaching opportunities. So all the same things apply. In means of value proposition for partners, it is the product aims to help educational institutions fulfill their human resources needs with skilled young people. Now, a question is, what if it's not an educational institution, but they need a teacher? And that is a case-by-case assessment of what exactly it is, the situation. So it can potentially qualify to be a global teacher, even if it is, for example, a company that needs a teacher within the company for language learning, for example, because that's a case in a couple of countries that's a practice. So case by case, that can be considered. But what is non-negotiable is the nature of the job being teaching. And then these are the benefits for partners. It's similarly as global talent, but everything related to teaching. So that's basically the same. Cool. So now we have how many minutes left? I think we've got quite a lot. And I only have, I think, 5 minutes more content. So I'm going to look at the chat right now to answer the questions that were there. And if it's something that's going to be covered in a different session, I'm going to let you know. So let me scroll a bit. So question, minimum benefits for global talent for 6 to 8 weeks should cover both salary and accommodation? No, it should cover at least one of them. So if it's less than 8 weeks, it should cover minimum one of them, either salary or accommodation. If it covers both of them, that's fine. But the minimum is one of them. Yes, you guys replied well. Will it confuse people if the salary line is above 8 weeks, but the mid length is about above 12 weeks? I wouldn't say so, because the salary is stated based on each opportunity. So each opportunity has a salary or not. So I can note this down as a question and I can take it forward to look into it. But our assumption is no, because the salary is anyway something that they see per opportunity. So it's not something standardized by length. It's something that they see for each opportunity differently. So then that's where they get that information. Based on my understanding, all duration should be beneficial salary, but some entities focus on 6 to 8 weeks only, which cover accommodation is enough. Oh, this is not a question. The understanding is that it might be difficult to find salaries for opportunities which are less than 8 weeks. So the minimum should, yeah, you guys are basically doing my job. So you are just literally replying the same question. Okay, we can see the market reaction. Yes, of course. It's something that I think the first weeks will be super crucial to see the market reaction, which is something super valid. That we're going to launch externally, and then we're going to see what kind of reaction do we get from the customer as well. Because of course we tested everything that we could test with customers that already went on exchanges, but on exchanges the way they used to be. So now with the new principles, let's say. Cool. So now if you have any other questions, you can even unmute your mics, that's fine, and ask the question, because we have, let's say, 5 minutes more for question. And if you don't, that's fine, because we can just end a bit earlier. So just let me know if you have the question, or if not, just put no or something so I know that I'm not waiting.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, we always like have around 8 weeks, global talent right now, back then global entrepreneur. And then what if it is 9 weeks or 10 weeks, for example, and then for the past 8 weeks, we provide a full accommodations, but if it is 9 weeks, so we pay a 1 week salary or something, or the whole internship should be given salary?
Yeah, so the thing is, because you should set this kind of agreement with the contract right at the beginning. So if the opportunity is set to be more than 8 weeks from the beginning, it needs to be providing salary. It's not just from the extra; it's for the whole duration. So we're considering the entire experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Is it possible to see the raw data or analysis you based on? Would like to see how much brand product market fit. I think this is a good question to ask Esgi in the consultancy later today, because she did the initial analysis for the assumptions that we had about the product business model. If it's questions regarding specifically the branding process, then you can ask myself. I can give part of the raw data, not everything, because of course privacy and GDPR parts, but I can just delete the data that is sensitive, and I can give you access to what we considered, or I can give you the information that we consider. But if it's about the validation that we did on what the products are and what the benefits are and what the value proposition is and what is the perceived benefits and such, then this is with Esgi, and I think it's a good question to ask in the consultancy, so she can provide you with the insights on that. Cool. Anything else? Yes, no, going once, going 2 times, nothing. Okay, cool. So then just a couple of, let's say, ending reminders that some of you have seen before if you were in the brand launch session, but I just want to put them here so you guys are well aware. Of course, you can ask your questions here all the time, because this is something where we formally respond to questions. But a question that came up is, okay, what is happening with GV if we're refreshing GT and G talent and G teacher? So will the logo and that, session, but I just want to put them here so you guys are well aware. Of course, you can ask for it. That was my Google Home that my Google Home just answered the question that I was posting. So the question about GV, yes, GV will be updated as well as a brand. However, there's not going to be major changes. There's not going to be changes to the product itself, to the product principle or benefits. The only changes are going to be, it's in means of the visual identity of the product that is going to be just aligned to Global Talent and Global Teacher to be a package of the same brands. Cool. So this is important to understand, because on the 7th of July, as I keep iterating, we're going to have the external launch. However, everybody needs to be prepared at the same time, so we can all go live, let's say, with the external launch as a global organization. So then all the preparations need to be done prior to that. So what we're working on right now is creating all the changing all of the things on isec.org and partners.isec.org to go live on 7th of July with the new products, expa and everything in means of platforms. Also the social media channels were going to be updated with the new products and the new brands, as well as we're going to send email communication to customers that, hey, this is our new products, and this is what it means, and this is what you can do. So this is going to be communicated from global side, and it needs to be replicated the same. We cannot have entities still communicating an old message if the global channels and everything on the platforms is changed. So this is why it's important for you guys, and especially your MCVP marketing and products, to already look into mapping out all the changes that need to be done in means of branding, in means of communication messages on all of your channels. So this is just a list, not exhaustive list, but list of the things that you should consider, like your website, landing pages, lead nurturing, social media, and internal, external documents that you've got, offline and online marketing resources and materials. You've got maybe some tutorials for EPs, for their OPS, or for how to find opportunities, and all of those will be outdated. So all of those need to be changed. When will you get all the materials to change that? By OP Summits. how long do you have from OP summits until external launch? About just 3 weeks, over 3 weeks, just a bit over 3 weeks. So this is why from now on you need to map out, your MC needs to map out all the changes and to make sure that in those 3 weeks you've got the capacity and the resource and the people that are going to be doing all of those changes. So then we can all go live at the same time on the 7th of July. So then some important notes that I mentioned already, but just reiterating that YOP will have the filters on duration type, so the customers will be able to see this, and that's going to be also on expa. So the OP managers will be able to see that as well. We're not going to use the terms of product, as I said. We're only going to have fields of work and duration. And the fact that the value proposition and benefits will have the same information, but we're just gonna revise if this is the best way to phrase everything within this information. So those are some important notes, and this is something that you already know. I've already seen the people, the MCVPs in the groups, referring themselves correctly. So this is the convention that we said, let's have something standard, so it's easier for everybody to process all the information and people don't get confused with different names. So we said, okay, let's settle for a standard of GTE for teaching and GTA for talent. Loads of jokes already. It's fine. It's going to be a period of memes and jokes, and we're all good with that. And that's going to pass, and then everything is going to be super normal because we're going to get new people that never knew what global entrepreneur was. We're going to get new members that never knew that global talent used to be something different. So then that change is going to happen anyway. And then, of course, for global teacher and talent at the same time, because many entities are running within the same person, then just T works for both of them. So yes, as I said, questions can go anytime here. However, you've got today also going to be covering more information about the whole business model, S&D, timeline, and consultancy at the end. So I'm pretty sure that by the end of today, all of your questions should be answered. If they're not, please bring them in the consultancy, because it's very crucial for you to have all the information correct and to be super clear from now, because you're going to be going into planning and such. So you don't want to work with information that is not necessarily 100% accurate. But that was it from my side. And we've ended 10 minutes early. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe Neely can tell us if that's a break or it's something else for you guys. But thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for being up early. And I don't know how energized, because I can only see a couple of faces on the screen. I'm not sure about the others, if they were sleeping or not. Hopefully not. But thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Rares. So right now it's 20, so we are 10 minutes earlier. So you're gonna have the break until 12, and then at 12 we're gonna have another session also about GT and GE business model number 2. So people, you can take a break right now, and also thank you, Rares, a lot for coming here for the session. Yay!
All right, enjoy the rest of the day. Okay,
Okay.
bye guys.
Bye bye. Okay. Bye bye guys. So you can have a break. You can leave it here, or you can just going around, and then we can get back at 12 exactly. Yeah. Okay. Oh yes, yes. GMT plus A. So which means wait. Let me ask agenda manager, because that's it based on. Let me ask agenda manager. Okay, and then I'm gonna text in the group. Okay, but then you guys can just take a break now. Yeah, and then I can check for you in the group chat. Okay.
Oh my god.